a consistent list. He likes to opt for those more safe approaches rather than the aggressive list that we saw from Owen Kammerman that was denied by Jellison. But as we get into the game, the players are putting out their prize cards. Anything of note to kick things off?
Well, typically in Charizard, it doesn't hurt to prize rare candy, but when you're playing 2 rare candies in your list, that may be putting a bit of a break on it.
And actually on the other side, that technical machine devolution could be the strategy that Lucas would want to go for. Depends on how the match pans out, but a Frillish as well, often wanting to combine 2 Frillish throughout the strategy, rotating between them. That could be a factor there, so definitely Lucas going to have to adapt the first line strategy into Charizard, but so much of it comes down to how Gabriel sets up, who is currently 10-0, might I add. Going into today was the only player on EXO. Lucas now 9-1 in a great position too.
Yeah, seeing a 10-0 player is not something we do every single tournament. Just seeing a 9-0 player is not something we see every tournament. Even an 8-0, but here, Gabriel Fernandez, 10-0, going into Lucasing, and we are off.
Well, let's see how this first turn goes for Gabriel, who will be kicking off the play with a Tatsugiri, a great attractor of customers in the active spot, finding that Professor Turo scenario. And is that going to be it for Gabriel? Have you got more in that hand? There is a Pidgey there, just having the decision as to what goes down in this early stage. Let's talk a bit about Charizard. What is the game plan here for Charizard EX as a deck?
The game plan for Charizard, get Pidgeot into play. That's going to search through your cards and get Charizard into play. That's going to be your attacker. The simplest of approaches is what Gabriel has decided to go for in this game here. Now going for the Ultra Ball, discarding what looks like a Monkey Dory and an Iono, going for the Charmander. Lucas starting Frillish is fantastic for him, being able to Oceanic Gloom, which means a part of Gabriel's strategy has to be that technical machine evolution. Otherwise, we're going to be seeing issues on Gabriel's side.
Well, you alluded to it before, only 2 rare candy in Gabriel's list, so not wanting to go down that route typically, looking to try and use the technical machine evolution, but by going first, we'll have a tougher time setting up under item lock in their second turn. You can see the prize cards here, that technical machine devolution and the Frillish there could change Lucas's game plan quite significantly, which will be something we'll be able to talk about as he starts to set up. But starting the Frillish is the dream start when you're playing it into a deck that relies on stage 2. So Lucas will be happy with that starter. Tatsugiri, a great starter for Gabriel. So both players here looking pretty confident.
Both players are having good starts, and Gabriel typically wants to be going second with that Charizard Pidgeot deck. Although whenever you're getting Pidgey and you're getting Charmander going first on that first turn, you'd be thinking, that's all right.
For sure, and there you go. The Charmander at the end of this deck search for Gabriel will be going to the bench. And one thing that's for sure, when you see a player who's 10-0 at tournament, you often ask the question, have you solved the meta? Have you come up with a deck that is beating the format? And yes, this is Charizard EX, which we're very familiar with, but recently the most successful Charizard lists have often played Dusknoir. But Gabriel opting to go for a more consistent approach, not having that modifying Curse Blast.
Gabriel potentially just wanting to go into the archive of decks, played the same Charizard variant previously, and I think it was the NAIC last season in the seniors division. He won with this typical variant of Charizard, playing Monkey Dory instead, also going for the same setup in terms of 2 technical machine evolutions and 2 rare candies. It's nothing new, and I mean, why fix something that's working, right? And in Gabriel's case here, 10-0 on top of the tournament.
Why not? And I think that's another thing to note in this current format is play the decks you're familiar with. And you mentioned Gabriel Fernandez has played this deck, won NAIC with a Charizard list last year in seniors, and very much familiar with these dark type attackers. Recently been opting to go for N-Zoroark more often, but now going back to old faithful of Charizard. Tatsugiri will be attacked there for 20 damage. The Frillish denying items, Oceanic Gloom, but not going to deny that Lily's Determination. A fresh 8 cards for Gabriel.
A fresh 8, and what are we going to be able to see here from that? Is there going to be coming any support, any technical machine evolution, any Pidgeotto, any Charmeleon? That is a question that we have to be asking Gabriel now.
I mean, the question we've got to ask Lucas on the other side is, where's the routes? If you're playing Gardevoird, you often want to be seeing your main evolution line that unlocks your deck. Charmeleon can naturally evolve at this stage, attract customers as well. And there's that unfair stamp ace spec, which is definitely a uniquer option when it comes to Charizard. Was very much part of the deck early on, but has become less and less of a choice. So Lucas not having the best start there, does get the item lock off, but no Ralts. The hand is full of energy and has a Mew there. Can't even discard cards down to get access to that Mew EX to draw cards. So very much in favor of Gabriel at this point.
And when you're speaking of that, you know, Ralts not getting on the bench, it goes to show, we've seen this in Las Vegas last week as well, him with Chow playing 2 Ralts. Lucas Singh doing exactly the same. We're seeing the same Stixies we've featured previously with this Chow group list. And yeah, the Gardevoird line is a 2-1-2. Heavily relying on Red Candy. Not super good against item locking decks, but in this case, it's not item lock we're playing against. Although, unfortunate part of when you're having 2 Ralts, less Ralts equals, well, again, last chance of getting it on your first turn. But beyond that, no supporter on the first turn as well. Not even any other parts of the setup.
Yeah, Lucas not having the best start here at all. Normally you're fine with a pretty simple setup behind that Frillish, but the Frillish didn't really deny too much as Charmeleon came out for Gabriel Fernandez, and that's often enough to get things going next turn. Has the Pheasantipity down as well, so what do you get off the top of the deck here, Lucas? A big moment right now. Is it something you can play this turn?
Mystery Garden. That is technically playable. We can be playing some cards down from our hand to draw more, but is that going to net us enough cards?
Well, doing the maths now, the Dark Energy, Mystery Garden, 3 cards in hand, so this will just draw 1 card after discarding a Psychic Energy. Is it a supporter?
No.
I don't think so. This is just not ideal for Lucas at this stage. You know, low hand size in combination with that restart of Mew EX is great, but not when you're trying to set up. So we'll just be Professor Turo scenarioing that Mew EX to try and reset it. Gets another restart off, but not much going on. Just another item lock with Oceanic Gloom for 20. Over to Gabriel Fernandez. We'll just be starting with that Artisan. Holding on to that last turn, very smart to deny it from Lucas. Now can start setting up wide.
Also having that Lily's Determination in hand already from that Attract Customers last turn, meaning getting into the Charizard is going to be an easier ask, although only playing 2. So it's dependency of do we get into it or not. Getting that Lily's Determination again of the Attract Customers, and yeah, Attachment of Energy to guarantee the retreat or the TM Evolution, and then using the Lilies. And yeah, the target here, getting Charizard. If you get Charizard out, while there being no Ralts on Lucas' board, no additional Frillish, no setup at all, then we're just going to be able to push ahead.
I think Gabriel Fernandez was trying to get Arven off of that Attract Customers to find the Technical Machine Evolution. Happy for a slower turn. Just wants to try and find that Charizard EX here. Doesn't find it off of the first 6 of the Lilies. We'll get another 2. Is there a Charizard there? Doesn't look like there will be, but Technical Machine Evolution will allow Gabriel Fernandez to get into that Pidgeot EX in combination with the Pidgeotto Evolution.
Getting that into that Pidgeotto, already having the Pidgeot in hand, can go ahead and say Technical Machine Evolution for Charmeleon, for Pidgeot. Now the Pidgeot's on board, which means Charizard is going to be coming next turn. Lucas, what can you even muster up here?
Well, no Ralts in play, so really limited in options. The Oceanic Gloom hasn't slowed down Gabriel enough. Now Lucas will have to try and find a different route into this game, and it might almost be too late at this point, because once those Charizard EX start swinging, they have so much control over the matchup because of that Dark-type weakness on all of Lucas's Pokemon.
I do have to add here, Mike, this is the first time Lucas gets to search the deck even.
Yeah, might even find that Technical Machine Devolution being prized and the other Frillish being prized might make this all a bit too much at this stage. You know, Lucas hasn't got to 9-1-0 by conceding games that look like he was out of it. He's definitely come back from some behind positions. But Gabriel just looks far too set up at this stage.
Although getting these comebacks, making these comebacks are what Gardevoird is built to by far. Able to set up a board with multiple Monkey Dories and using Jelly Set and Devolution, although with missing resources on Lucas's side, no setup until now. It's just getting harder and harder and harder, although we still have, 40 minutes and a little chunk left to go. But when Charizard comes into play next turn, Lucas doesn't have any direct way of responding to it. There could be that Mind Bend from the Monkey Dory, but we do have to see what we get off the Mew, and it's just going to be a Braver Charm and a concession.
Yeah, it looked like it was all too much to come back into this game, and Lucas recognizes that early, giving them plenty of time to finish this best of 3. Gabriel going ahead early in this best of 3, 1-0, and it was thanks to that early strong setup into Lucas having a slow start.
Yeah, and Gabriel Fernandez, one step closer to our asymmetrical top cut for this international championships, potentially defending the title now that we had Miloslav not too greatly after yesterday, but maybe the senior champion ages up and becomes the Masters champion.
I mean, that would be a first, wouldn't it? A 3-time LAIC champion across 2 age divisions. Likes to create records, likes to create history, does Gabriel. Last season, the story of the perfect season was denied at the final hurdle with that World Finals just missing out for Guan Liao. But here is trying to really redeem himself in the Masters division. Already has a 2nd place at a regional, a top 8 at a regional, and at his first Masters International Championship is looking to try and go all the way as the only player currently on EXO, and has been for the last 2 rounds, really making a statement of the level this guy can play.
Yeah, and what a level that is indeed. 10-0 says everything that you need to know here. And 1 game up, getting close to that, 11-0. And speaking of when we're playing 14 Swiss rounds in total, something we typically say X and 2, which means that 12 games, 12 rounds win, that's enough to get into the asymmetrical top cut typically.
This is our Swiss round 11. We had 9 yesterday, 8 in phase 1, and we've kicked things off today with 2 amazing matches. The first match, definitely one to go watch if you missed it, as there was some incredible gameplay as the prize cards go out for both players, and it will be likely Gabriel to go first here. Starting Pheasantipity, attach, pass. Not so good there in the secret box for Lucas on the other side.
Just like playing Grimstall Mike, starting secret box means we get to play the game. And yes, Lucas is going to go ahead and use the secret box. It's going to be nothing like the game 1 we saw from Lucas' side, actually being able to have options this time.
And when you have that Frillish, you build your deck around being able to get it into the active spot. And as we see the prize cards here, I mean, the 2 Monkey Dory, not ideal for Lucas. The Rare Candy and the Curly are not ideal. But on the other side, a little flash of a stroke of brilliance, maybe the Gouging Fire and answer to Cornerstone, as well as 2 of those middle evolutions, which when you're against an item locking deck are so key, as well as that Technical Machine evolution.
Yeah, it means that when you're playing 2 Charmeleon, 2 Pidgeotto, 2 Technical Machine evolution, half of your outs to that are gone. And it just means it gets harder for Gabriel to get this set up on the upcoming turn. Didn't see what Gabriel had in hand exactly, and that's going to be interesting to see whether or not we can get that Technical Machine evolution going. And looking from the perspective of that, I really wanted to see what that back card is.
Not much going on there. And for these Frillish players, they find a way to retreat the active for free, so you can attach and use that Frillish turn 1. And for Lucas, that option is the Latias EX. Not having the air balloon, which you sometimes see in these decks to try and get into it. So does need to find a way to get Latias EX and the Frillish out. And not only does the item lock deny rare candies, but it denies a lot of the ways to get Pokemon into play for Gabriel Fernandez.
You know what, Mike, here the secret box can just get you straight into some of these combo pieces to get that Latias, get that Frillish, get the attachment, Oceanic Gloom right away.
Ooh, getting rid of the rare candy there. Doesn't want to get rid of the energy in hand because we'll need that to attach to the Frillish.
Yeah, but Mike, that's going to mean that Lucas is not going to be able to get a Gardevoird into play.
Oh, really? That's an interesting decision at this stage. Has the Curlier and the rare candy prize.
It is free rare candy though, so it's 1 rare candy left, but discarding one of the only 2 rare candy remaining in the deck, having prized that singular Curlia. This Gardevoird deck has been breaking some of the boundaries we've been seeing previously. Previously, we had seen Technical Machine Evolution, 2 Curlia, free 2/2 Gardevoird lines with 2 rare candy. In this case, it's 2/1/2 with triple rare candy and only having 1 rare candy left now.
That Nest Ball looking to try and get the Latias EX for the Skyliner ability, allowing you to retreat any of your basic Pokemon for free. And in combination with that Ultra Ball, we'll be able to find the Frillish. So has that item lock turn 1? And it doesn't really get much better than that. Oh, yes, it does. Lily's Determination.
And Lily's Determination, and smartly so using that Ultra Ball, discarding the Artisan. One thing you don't want to be giving Gabriel is a way to get into this game. And how do you do that? Discard the Artisan, not giving Gabriel any way to step into this game.
Well, the juxtaposition between game 1 and game 2 here. It was Lucas top-decking his way through the first few turns last time, and Gabriel setting up perfectly, and I think that might be the opposite story here based off of this first turn. Lucas still gets to see 8 more cards after having that secret box. Has the combination already to get an Oceanic Gloom off this turn, and now just trying to find any other ways to set up. Did you find a routes there? I don't think so, so denied that, but should be fine anyway based off of how this first turn's gone.
Oceanic, the objective here was to use Oceanic Gloom. Hit that objective. Yes, could have been hitting the routes, but that's going to be an assignment for next turn then. But at least we got the Oceanic Gloom going, denying Buddy Puffin, Nest Balls, etc. for the setup here. And Gabriel is just going to be in a world of hurt. We do see a Lily's Determination. That was the back card I saw in that hand. An attachment to the Serendipity. You may be thinking, is it time for Cruel Arrow? Yes.
I mean, that might be the only attacker Gabriel's able to set up early on. And without that Ralts down, not threatening a knockout on the Serendipity next turn. So Serendipity, yes, it's there for the flip the script, but Cruel Arrow, a great attack too.
And a great attack when we're thinking about, well, it knocks out Frillish in one hit. It also can be knocking out that Ralts that Lucas puts on the bench. And Frillish, even if you put a Bravery Charm to it, is not going to be surviving a Cruel Arrow due to its weakness.
Well, what an interesting game we're about to see here. Do you know what? It's not the first time we've seen this. I think the game we saw previously on stream where Owen Kammerman played against Henry Chow with the exact same matchup, he opted to power up his Serendipity X there too, as he had a slow start. And is there going to be any of those basics? Not able to get them with the Buddy Puffin, but does have a singular Pidgey and that Tatsugiri, but no Charmander to start building that up at this stage.
But there's a Fire Energy in Gabriel's hand, which means that the Cruel Arrow is likely going to become the reality heading into next turn.
As it goes back to Lucas, what did you get in this hand? I mean, a huge hand of cards, plenty of options. It's really just about getting that Ralts down. The rare candy, the last rare candy in the deck is there. So we'll look to, I know at this stage, well, needs to find the Ralts. That's not a guaranteed way to find it.
That is the only way you can draw cards with, Mike. That is what you have to be doing here as Lucas. Lucas has to be finding routes, has to be finding additional Pokemon here, and Triple Lily is going to help it with the next turn, but the Ultra Ball was so important getting that into hand this turn, at least attempting to get some kind of a setup going.
Well, with just one Ralts going down, that will mean that Serendipity Cruel Arrow, if attained by Gabriel in the next turn, will be able to deny that Ralts in play. And so the Oceanic Gloom will come through. Is there an energy for you, Gabriel? If there is, this is a completely different game right now.
We started off thinking that the Oceanic Gloom is just going to shut Gabriel right out of there, but what the best players are able to do is take some of these, you know, off-the-wall attackers, thinking that Serendipity is only there for support. No. Here, it's going to become the main attacker.
Well, let's see, as the Technical Machine evolution is taken, allowing Gabriel to evolve, but will he choose to set up here or go for the attack with Cruel Arrow? This is where those unusual scenarios you find yourself in as a top player, it's those who are able to see the unusual routes that rise to the top, and Cruel Arrow was not the attack we're expecting to see announced in game 2, but it just happened to be that way for Gabriel, starting off with it as the only attacking option. And with the item lock, any other attacker will take some time to prepare.
You've been saying only attacking option, but also the perfect attacking option when we're thinking there's only one Ralts on the bench and there's no protection in something like a Shaman or anything like that. And getting the bench that Monkey Dory, well, if the Oceanic Gloom is just doing 20 a turn, Monkey Dory may well be a real thing. But yeah, knockout on Ralts, Cruel Arrow getting some action, and Lucas to start off with Night Stretcher into Lily.
Well, hopefully find 2 Ralts here for sure, as that is a big factor in this next turn. Even Cruel Arrow taking another knockout, putting Gabriel as far ahead as possible, could put him in a great spot to slowly evolve up that Charizard and the Pidgeot over a few turns. You know, that is the perfect attacker. You mentioned it. but it cannot be overstated how well Gabriel is dealing with this unusual start. And there is no Ralts yet. I don't think there's another Ralts there, you know. Yeah, no other Ralts in that hand, so Lucas is only going to be stuck with a singular Ralts once again.
We could potentially see the Jellicent getting in, attachment there, although that doesn't mean we have a true item lock going. It means Gabriel can get out of it with something like a boss's orders, and we can still get to Cruel Arrow. Charmander getting into play, but again, there's only one Ralts in play. Cruel Arrow is still going to be able to take out these Ralts.
100%. And now things have changed as the damage has accelerated thanks to that Jellicent. And you now can no longer use that Technical Machine Evolution as it denies tools as well, thanks to the Oceanic Curse ability. And it will just be a Cruel Arrow onto the Ralts. Another knockout for Gabriel, but the Charmander going down was a key factor in that turn.
A key factor indeed, doing that. Although we don't see any boss's orders, we don't see the combination of Rare Candy, Charizard, boss's orders in the hand of Gabriel. But what do we see here? Just an Arven off the top deck?
I mean, that 10 HP remaining on that Pheasantipity, just the perfect amount. But no Ralts came down that last turn, so Attract Customers here will allow Gabriel to find a boss's orders, and that's going to open up all of these items. Boss's orders onto any of those bench Pokemon will turn off the Oceanic Curse of the Jellicent, as it only works when it's in the active spot.
All of them having free retreat. This is like playing Hex Maniac on a Trevenant back in the day, giving that item lock a boot. And now it's for Gabriel to put these team evolutions into play. Not only does the Oceanic Curse lock down these item cards, we have to remember it also lockdowns the tool cards. And now here we're going to be able to see Ultra Ball into Pidgeotto. Technical Machine Evolution is going to be able to evolve Charmander, Pidgeotto, Buddy Puffin for an additional Charmander here. Now Gabriel is going to be starting to run away with this game.
And with no Ralts down, Lucas will not be able to build up damage on his side of the board and use that Monkey Dory. There's so many things here that denying that Ralts has pushed Gabriel into the lead further and further. And this turn here, that Tatsugiri finding the boss was the key factor to allow him to get ahead. But there is a few things we have to factor in here. But once you've got that Pidgeot in play, it makes it so much easier to find those combination pieces.
There's a reason why Pidgeot is one of the best abilities in the game and has been for a while now. Searching any card you want. We were talking about it last game. We've been talking about it this game too. When you get Charizard into play against these Gardevoird decks, that's when you get to see the acceleration of the game state. How do you get into the Charizard? Well, if you can just quick search for it, you've got it easy. Now we see for the second time, Night Search onto Ralts. Will Lucas be able to keep that in play this time around?
Well, by going back into the Jellicent, you are denying abilities, but it does mean you've now got a 2-prizer in the active. So if a Charizard is found this turn, which Quick Search from Pidgeot is an ability, we'll be able to do so. It's now down to looking at those Fire Energy. One part of Charizard is it can self-accelerate the Fire Energy from the deck. But how many Fire Energy does Gabriel play? It's 5.
5 energies, and so far we've been seeing 3 of them get rid of, which means we can get to use 1 Infernal Rain for maximum value. No fires are prized, and Swiftly Skip is going to be able to see if we get any. Now, Quick Search can always get you to Charizard. Charizard, 1-hit knockouts Jellicent, no matter how many prizes are drawn, due to it also having that darkness weakness. That's great. Then Gabriel goes down to 2 prize cards. And yet there's also a Latias on the bench. And if you get a Charizard going this turn, and you can just quick search for a boss's orders next turn, and that means you have 4 prizes laying there waiting for you with 4 prizes remaining.
In this situation, do you just deny the Ralts once again? Is that the strategy? Or is it more important just to accelerate towards a win condition?
In this spot here, if we're thinking about how Lucas will be able to win this game, if we just start accelerating away, this Monkey Dory here is the one that can go ahead and say, okay, Mind Bend on Charizard for confusion, yet there's Jet Energies in Gabriel's deck being able to bypass that confusion totally. And if we can get into Jet Energy and then a boss's orders on this next turn after potentially knocking out just the Jellicent, then we've been able to knock out the Latias. And those 2 would just give you your last remaining 4 prizes.
Now we see the Charizard EX evolving and allowing Fire Energy to be brought into play with Infernal Rain. search your deck for up to 3 basic fire energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. Typically 2 go onto the Charizard, but you can, if you've got extra energy, which I don't think Gabriel has in this situation, attach more. And now that Charizard EX with 330 HP, Dark type attacker, and the Feathered Dippity being picked up with the Professor Turo scenario, this board looks incredible. And we'll take a 2-prize knockout, putting Gabriel 1 knockout away from victory. And that is the Jellicent going down. Lucas has a lot to do. Can he do it here?
Right now, it looks like Lucas has a mountain to climb. Draws another Ralts. Has that Curlia in hand after having drawn that from the prize cards. It does look like this turn is going to be a mind bend. And then there's 2 cards to get it for Gabriel here in that case. There's no supporter in hand for Lucas. That hand is just not giving anything away. And here, if we see a Jet Energy, if we see a Boss's Orders, then it doesn't matter. We see the mind bend here. Gabriel, do you have it?
Well, it does have the Jet Energy.
There's a Boss's Orders!
Boss's Orders in hand in combination with the Jet Energy, and Gabriel Fernandez will take down our round 11 match and goes to 11-0 here at LAIC.
11 wins and 11 chances that opponents had to dethrone Gabriel, but this time we see him, the tournament top dog, the boss of the tournament, and one of the favorites to take down this Masters Division title. Gabriel 11-0 and on the brink of reaching that asymmetrical top cut at this edition's LAIC.
A previous LAIC champion twice over in the seniors division. Started his tournament run off playing against Miloslav, who was our previous LAIC champion. So from the off has had tough opponents and has just continually beaten them over and over again. This Charizard pick, an amazing choice, having that Fire-type attacker for the most popular deck in the room, Golden Go, but the Dark-type attack from Charizard into Gardevoird is so key.
And going into this game, we've been seeing 2 vastly different games here. Cruel Arrow here in game 2 just take out Ralts. And it kept on going again and again. Lucas was never able to get 2 Ralts into play. Night Stretcher Ralts, Cruel Arrow again. And this Jellicent keep it on attacking. At least Lucas in this game got the Jellicent going. Nothing much happened in game 1. Taking a few knockouts here and there, but it ended up being that the star of the show in this specific turn was going to be Charizard taking out that Jellicent.
And with the Dark type weakness, you don't even have to build up prize cards from your opponent. You always take the knockouts on all of your